Hello everyone, I'm Bill Hammond and I actually paid to see this. And welcome back to this year's Oscar Blitz, where I break down every nominee and every category at the 96 Academy Awards. Be sure to keep it locked on actuallypaid.com to keep up with the entire Blitz in print form, and remember to subscribe to the channel for future videos. Today's category is one of the big ones, Best Director. The result is likely secured at this point, but that doesn't mean this is a contest without controversy, with one glaring omission from the final five. But from where I sit, there's a second person who should be getting recognition here. So let's go over the nominees to see who should be vying for the prize, and who really shouldn't be. Justine Trier, Anatomy of a Fall. In this year's big winner at Cannes, Justine Trier crafts a visually appealing courtroom drama where vision and speculation share equal space. Trier gets amazing performances out of Sandra Hüller, Milo Machado-Graner, and Messi the dog, yet another way in which Messi is inarguably superior to Ronaldo. Her cinematic eye is impeccable, especially when it comes to the scenes at the ski chalet, contrasting bright colors against the stark white snow. But from a narrative perspective, she leaves us wanting, opting for legal dramatics that don't really take place in the real world, based on a trial that's flimsy at best and would most likely never be brought due to a lack of evidence. Because of this, Trier cops out on the ending right from the start, taunting the audience with the old "did she do it" website trick rather than coming up with a satisfying conclusion. The parts that she gets right are spectacular, but the shortfalls are devastating. Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon. I admit it, I'm a simp for Scorsese, always have been, always will be, and Killers of the Flower Moon is among his greatest works. However, the best touches don't really show on the screen, rather behind the scenes with the story and production. Originally, this was meant to be a film about Tom White, as his solving of the Osage murders was one of the first major cases for what is now the FBI. However, as the production went on, and as Scorsese consulted more and more with the Osage people, the focus shifted into what the film became, a great American tragedy framed in the style of the crime epics that made him a legend. I'm amazed that this wasn't nominated for Adapted Screenplay, because the evolution of that process is key to this film's success and memorability. Scorsese's commitment to truth, empathy, and proper representation through the real storytellers goes a long way to making this film so special. Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer. There is no better auteur in the film industry today than Christopher Nolan when it comes to messing with time in order to properly contextualize a story, and Oppenheimer sees him at the absolute height of his powers. The way he turns the Manhattan Project into an almost literal ticking time bomb of our own hubris and potential self-destruction is on a completely different level. This is because he emphasizes two key elements. The first is contrasting the theory of science with the practice through scenes in color versus black and white, his fission and fusion storylines. One side offers limitless possibilities, while the other is cold, hard truth in binary. The second is a focus on the human element. The creation of the atom bomb was a turning point in our history, as it created a method to win one war through massive, unbelievable casualties, while also sowing the seeds for a century of stalemates and paranoia based on the threat that such a loss of life represents. In the end, whether designing the bomb or succumbing to it, the humanity involved can't be ignored, and Nolan understands that truth intrinsically. Through mind-blowing visuals, an airtight script, and fantastic performances, Nolan brings all that together to create a film that still keeps you on the edge of your seat a full hour after the bomb goes off. Yorgos Lanthimos, Poor Things. Lanthimos' quirky style is always a ton of fun, conveying complex ideas about the human condition through abject silliness and in-your-face, matter-of-fact dialogue. His latest work continues to show why he's one of the best in the world, continuing his stellar record in English-language films that started with The Lobster over a decade ago. Using a multitude of color schemes, camera angles, lenses, and elaborate trippy set designs, Lanthimos doesn't make you so much a fly on the wall for Bella Baxter's development as an observer of a voyeuristic experiment. The idea that Bella evolves on her own terms despite every man around her trying to mold her into their ideal of a woman is a tremendous feminist statement executed as only he can do it. one of the most creative forces in the industry, you never know what to expect with Lanthimos' work, except that it will be extraordinary. Jonathan Glazer, The Zone of Interest. I've been a fan of Glazer's work since I saw Under the Skin back in 2013. He's only made 4 films so far, but each one has something to offer on a visual and thematic level that's both fascinating and cerebral. I just happen to think that The Zone of Interest is the weakest of those 4. The irony of a happy, quaint suburban life unfolding in an ideal home setting with Auschwitz over the back fence is absolutely fantastic, but it doesn't go anywhere. Once the shock wears off, we're just left with pretentious imagery and no narrative. I understand his creative choices here, but they just didn't work for me. Once the key juxtaposition is established, there's nothing else to carry me through the remaining 90 minutes. So, after all that, here are my personal rankings for the category. In 5th place is Jonathan Glazer. I love his stuff, but The Zone of Interest did very little for me. In 4th place is Justine Trier, who raised eyebrows with Anatomy of a Fall, but couldn't seal the deal. 3rd goes to Martin Scorsese, 2nd to Yorgos Lanthimos, and my imaginary vote goes to Christopher Nolan for what may be his greatest work yet. Now, there is some controversy in this category, as Greta Gerwig was left off for Barbie. And I have to say, based on the 5 that we got, I think she did in fact get hosed. Also, not to be ignored is Celine's Song with her incredible, understated, and intimate character study in Past Lives. Why isn't she on this list? Both of these women deserve to be here. And if I had any say, they would be. I would easily eliminate Trier and Glazer, and Gerwig would be in 4th place and Song in 5th. That would be a murderer's row of a Best Director category. Anyway, that's how I see it, but what about you? Let me know what you think and how you'd rank these directors in the comments below. Keep it locked on actuallypaid.com for more reviews and features, and of course Oscar category breakdowns, and I'll be back here next week with another analysis, this time for another troublesome contest, Best Actress. Until then everybody, I'm Bill Hammond. I actually paid to see this.